Hello, everyone. I'm so excited to have Sonia Martin with me today, and she is the author of Warfare in the Home, Empowering Women of Color Against Domestic Violence. Sonia, can you tell us a little bit about your book?
Yes. So I was inspired to write this book out of my own personal experience. In 2010, I was married to an ordained pastor, and he was extremely abusive. But what I didn't realize was how the church and the leadership of the church really manage these kind of issues. And it was a big eye opener for me because I grew up in church. And when we went to the pastor, he basically looked at me and said, well, you made a vow for better or for worse, and so work on your marriage. Don't give up on your marriage, work on it. Big mistake. It just got worse. I ended up in the hospital, and all of this is really something that was an eye opener for me who intellectually understood domestic violence, but being in the midst of it, it's very difficult. It's very confusing, and there's a lot of conflicting feelings that, especially if you grew up in church and you have the idea that marriage is um, something that is lasting until death. It's very, very difficult.
Wow, what a story. I just want to say, first of all, that I'm so glad that you made it onto the other side of that experience. And thank you so much for sharing your story in your book. I think that this could help a lot of women. What was your inspiration for writing the book?
Well, I was walking out of the courthouse one day, and I worked in a courthouse in Manhattan. And there was this big sign that said, tell your story. By the way, nobody in the courthouse, my peers had no idea what was going on. And so I started questioning God in my mind because I feel like God speaks to you to us in different ways. And so I started speaking to God and say, well, God, how do I go about this? And so the Lord impressed on my heart to go back to school. So I went back to school and I started writing. I went to New York Theological Seminary. And I don't know if a lot of people know that um, in theology, there's a lot of writing. You have to write a lot. And right then, I was told that there should be an interest, something that interests you as a student. And so I started to put some of my experiences in writing. It is not even half, the story has not been told. Half the story has not been told. It was just mind boggling, just disturbing and being very sensitive. I decided, well, when I was finished with that master's, I would go on to do my doctorate, and I would develop my dissertation into a book, which is exactly what I did.
I love that so much. And again, I'm so glad that you chose to share your story. Is there anything else that you want to tell us, Sonia, about yourself or your story or the message behind your book?
Well, I think the culture that we live in is a culture that embraces male dominant, and the young men, boys are taught that they're tough, they're stronger, and they are, superior in many ways physically, even mentally. Some boys believe that they're smarter than females. And so, if you grow up with that kind of teaching and then couple that with the teachings in the church that women are the weaker vessels. And if you have this ideology and belief system, it really feeds into how women are treated, disrespected, and treated like they're less than. And so that is what we need to break. And if we can be educated to think this kind of way, I do believe that education and awareness can also help to eliminate domestic violence. We have a better understanding of how it begins at home, how it begins in society and in the church, then we can be able to say, well, let's counter this kind of thinking and think that we need to empower women, lift them up, and allow them to feel that, well, you are respected as a mother, you are respected as a social worker, and if you're a preacher, you are respected.
Yes, I hope that this book reaches a lot of people. So, like you said, it can provide that awareness and that education to them. I think that that is so important. For anyone who is interested in picking up a copy of Sonia's book, it's Sonia Martin, and her book is titled Warfare in the Home: Empowering Women of Color Against Domestic Violence. Thank you so much, Sonia, for being here today. It was such a pleasure.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. God bless you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.